Welcome to Trader Genius. You've got Jess and Rob. It is Friday, 4th of October, and we are going to do some trade reviews for this week. Let's start out by looking at the big picture. Let's start with a multi-decade chart, Jess, man. Let me pull that over to this screen. All right, so newest development. These are weekly candles. Each one represents 1 week of trading, and if you were paying attention to the market, midweek we had some pretty bear moves strongly, and it's represented by this candle. So we got down, but there's a little bit of a wick on the bottom of this candle. So it sucked back up, a little retrace, and we do still have green signal on the bottom. The trigger is green, which is good for longer term. What is your interpretation of the multi-decade, Jess?
Multi-decade is seeing that downturn, like you said, with that red candle this week has been on the downside overall. Really looking back a couple of weeks as we never really reached a higher high above that 27,000, so about 3 or 4 candles back. We never broke the high previously set by that previous peak there that you're highlighting. And, you know, it is what it is. It would have been nice to have it continue to have higher highs and higher lows as it moves up. And we didn't reach that, but it found some resistance there. The nice part is with that wick, maybe we found some support at that 26,000 mark, and maybe it'll hold up higher than it has been. If you look from 2018 through 2019, as far as tops and bottoms, 26,000, if that proves to be a solid support line, that's a higher support than what we had been seeing previously for 2019 and 2018. We'll see if it sticks, though. And really, at the end of the day, is preparation. Have a plan in place for whether it goes up or whether it goes down, because right now we're still in the channel. So nothing super exciting going on unless you're able to snag a little bit of that options market or do some shorting this week.
Right. And puts in the options market are a great way to capitalize on bear moves. And just a simple analogy that you and I use quite frequently for what you said, you know, they're channeling. The prices are channeling. What does that mean? Keep it simple, guys. The battle is not decided yet. Let's say the war is not decided yet, because there are battles happening every day, and sometimes the buyers win, sometimes the sellers win, and that keeps us pretty much stagnant where we are. Wait for somebody to decisively break out of this channel, whether there's the buyers or the sellers, before you make your big overall assessment of the market as far as long term, the investing market.
Yeah, let's take a look at the monthly chart and see if that's reflected as well.
Go to the monthly right there.
And so here we are on the monthly. Again, I don't know if you listened to the trade reviews last week, but we talked about it finding that resistance and heading on its way back down. And sure enough, it decided to do it. And it is what it is. We're on a down red, but still have the green background. So overall, it's up as far as the monthly trigger is concerned. We go to the weekly. Hey, we're looking at some support. But again, in that channel, here's the deal, everyone. Be poised, because we don't know which way it's going to go. But now is the time to plan. This has been channeling really since February at a minimum on this chart. So the highs and lows we're getting a little bit more exaggerated. Now it looks like maybe they're tightening up a little bit. So who knows which way it'll decide to bust out, but this is the time to plan. This is the time to get your process, your trading effectiveness down for each direction. And then on the daily, we're on a green up with a red signal. We're finding support. So I think if you were to go back and actually look at this, you can actually see the progression from the multi-decade to the daily, and the daily back to the multi-decade, of it going up and down. And with the daily charts, you're going to see a quicker trigger than you would, say, with the multi-decade chart. So the daily's already been in the red since the 23rd of October. Mm-hmm. Multi-decade chart's still holding green. September. And that's just because of the length of time with that signal, because it is so cyclical back and forth across time frames.
Right. And we're just starting a new quarter. So 23rd of September was when we went red on the trigger/signal for anybody out there who's not familiar with the indicators. That's that highlight in the background. And we don't use line charts all that often in Trader Genius, but the line chart is the average price. So that's showing a downward action on red, and yet we have a little bit of a green blip here. It's just the opposite. Red lines, red price movement on a green signal. So there's confusion. Again, stagnation because nobody's winning the battle or nobody's winning the war on the whole yet. Wait and see, huh, Jess?
Yeah, and if you are currently trading, then just be prepared for those turnarounds. So set your expectations, cage your mind on these support and resistances and the potential for quick turnarounds, because we have seen them and they will continue to exist till the market that gets comfortable in a certain direction.
And just it's simple. Have a plan A if it goes long, and plan B if it goes bearish, bullish versus bearish. Just make two different plans and run them to ground with the thought in mind of what you want more of. You don't want to get caught in a situation where you got your pants down and prices are running away from what you wanted and you're holding on to hope. That is not a situation anybody wants to be in, and we don't want to see anybody in that situation. So please be agile, be cautious, and be deliberate in your plans. For our daily trade analysis today, we are going to go straight to the Daily Dozen. The Daily Dozen is something you can sign up for. You get a 30-day free trial for it. And it is hot stocks, the movers, what's really got some action behind it, delivered to your inbox every day. And you can also access it directly through the software, as you saw there on the daily button. So bring that back up and maximize. So the two that we want to look at off the Daily Dozen today are from Thursday's Daily Dozen. You can see that October 3rd, and today's Friday. So this is last night's market close prices. PESI looks good for a day-to-day stock trade. Here it is on the monthly time scale, so we'll build up to that. Let's start with the daily chart. And why we picked this one, and we're going to contrast it right here to LEN, but Permafix Environmental Services, PESI, had moved up nicely or mid-September, and then it kind of took a breath, had a few red candles, and lost its volume. Volume dropped off, crossed back below that trend line. So that trend pretty much ended. It was taking a breath. And then the buyers came on nicely October 2nd. That would have been Wednesday. So that propelled it up to $5. And then we see a nice sign here with this green candle. Buyer action was a little bit heavier on Thursday, and it got it above that $5 plateau. Stock traders do pay attention to big price points like this, that round number $5. Look how much trouble PSI had getting through the $4 mark. It was just kind of in limbo there, trying to break it. It finally did. And shortly thereafter, we're breaking $5. So it looks nice on the daily. What happens when we look at the weekly? Look across here, Jess, man, I'm actually going to pull up the full weekly chart so we can get a little more perspective back to 2018 on the weekly. And what are you seeing as far as looking left here?
When we look left, I'm seeing some new highs there on the weekly. $5 a while back proved to be a sticking point a couple times. And really, though, the volume had dropped off on that second attempt at $5. There wasn't really a lot of volume compared to the volume you're seeing now getting through that $5. There's a lot more buyer confidence in what the current price should be or what it is worth. So that's big. You're seeing growing volume and higher highs. And look at those two candles, no wicks at the top. The middle one, there was some healthy selling going on, which is okay. You want to have stocks that take a breath, have some healthy selling going on before they resurge again. And those are some beautiful candles there.
Yeah, the shape of the trend looks great. It is new territory on the weekly. So let's close out the weekly chart and we'll get down to the monthly chart. All right, so this one goes all the way back to 2016. So it has been 3 years since it's been in this territory. Keep that in mind. Last time it kind of fluttered out or petered out around, let's see, the high was 515. We've eclipsed that off of Thursday's close. We'll have to see what Friday's market brings today. But what is heartening about this candle is, like you said, no wick on the top, and we're not quite at the top yet. So even if this was a potential entry, 525 was the close on Thursday night. Even if you got in here and got out around that top 550, that's still almost a 5% gain. And we're talking day to day. So if you got in here, you would just want to watch it each day and measure, or follow your rules against the behavior of the stock. It has been 3 years, so some time has passed since it's been in this territory. It's unknown what's going to happen. Also on this monthly chart, don't put too much stock into the thinness of this candle. The thicker the candle, the more volume and the more shares being changed hands. We're only 3 days into October. We're on our 4th day of October. So give it some time to fill out here and let this monthly one grow. But if you're just looking on a day-to-day basis, PESI looks pretty good. If you want to take that and cross-reference it to our other candidate, it's got a lot of the same concerns and positive attributes as well. Here, LEN, Lennar, on the daily, it had been kind of taking a breath around $56 a share. And then we got some nice volume October 2nd. That propelled it up through 57, up to 58. And then a pretty good looking candle after that with some sustained volume, a little bit of drop off on October 3rd. Again, check what happened on October 4th before you make your decision. But this one, looking left on the daily, we got nice green signal. It's been being dominated by the buyers for a while now. So the weekly should look good. It does. You look left on weekly, no complications there, no slowdowns. But on the monthly, we do have kind of some chop looking left, Jess, man. At this point, I mean, we're not really near the highs, either the high of this wick about $72 or up at $64 where it had kind of crapped out before. So there is some room to run, some decent profit potential there. What do you see looking on the long-term timescales here?
Yeah, the long-term scales. I see a building trend on that. We're looking at going into the third candle there on the far right, and 2 candles with the blue K-band. One of the things that I would be interested in seeing if this continued this way is the presence of a volume spike. Presence of a volume spike in amidst the $63 price point, $60 price point, $70 price point, whatever it is going to decide that it's going to slow down, would be an indicator to me that maybe this is kind of the beginning of the end. We're a few candles deep. Like you said, it has been dominated by the buyers for a while. If you go back to the weekly chart, we're looking at that volume spike after a really pretty significant trend. So is this the beginning of the end? Is it the start of something new? That really kind of depends on your viewpoint and your process as far as how you see the strength of LEN going. Because on the weekly, it looks pretty good to the left. You don't have the same concerns that you do on the monthly. And this kind of goes into the fact of stuff that we've talked about before, that if you choose a time frame with which to trade on and which to base your decisions on, ultimately stick with that chart. The triggers, the indicators are optimized for each of those time frames. So they're, the blue K band's not going to go off on the daily at the same time that's going to go off on the weekly necessarily. So if you choose to go with the path and you choose it based on decisions from a specific chart, taking the other ones into consideration, but ultimately landing on one chart to base your decision off of, follow the same suit when you go to close, or decide that, hey, enough's enough. I've made my 5%, my 10%, whatever it is, and go ahead and exit.
Yeah, and we talk about might as well expose the Fantastic Four. You talk about the indicators on the charts, Jess, dude. We got the Fantastic Four right there on the daily. Trend lines on, quick trend line as well, K-band signal, and J stop right there. Weekly, confirmation on all four as well. Monthly, let's see. We do have a long trend line as well as K-band signal, and there's your J-stop right there. So things are looking good. You can't ask for more than those fantastic four to be met. We do have the sidekick volume on daily and weekly. And again, the monthly is only 3 days old. So give that some time to fill out. But all signs are pointing nicely for LEN. PSI, much the same. I look left it's a couple years ago, but there's a little bit more chop there. So make your choice. This daily review is for a potential entry, not necessarily recapping a trade that already happened. So we really just wanted you to have an exposure to how to cross-reference the different timescales on the charts and have two different stocks that look appealing and break them down by their merits. Really, you pick which one fits your system, the risk level you're willing to accept, as indicated by the indicators, and your style. If you're a daily stock trader, cool, then you have a chance with either of these two to make a profit. But do the wise thing, read the conditions, get in, get out, according to your style and your system.
Yeah, leave the emotion, what you want to have happen at the door. When you sit down at your trading station and you're looking at these indicators, look at them for what they are and not what you want them or want to see, because we can get hopeful and get our horses, like at the racetrack and cheer them on even when they're, you're hoping for that last kick that's going to bring them into first when they're sitting in ninth place or whatever it is. No, we're not interested in that. That's not going to provide consistent long-term results. So what do the indications say? Find a process that works across time frames, that works for you and your personality, that you can consistently apply. That's really the key, and that's what it comes down to with trading.
For our weekly timescale trade analysis, we're going to go straight to the master list. Jess, you have some familiarity with this stock. It is SAIA. Pull that baby up. Okay, so SAIA Trucking, though we know, but it is, if you one look at the weekly chart that we have up here, but not only we have Stock Trader Genius signal still on from way back when, that would have been a nice trade, but you were talking about the $80 kind of territory here and how it's continued since then. So you want to fill in the blanks on the details of how you found SAIA?
Yeah, SAIA through the Genius modes and just doing some research. The nice thing about Genius modes is it really paints a landscape of low risk. And it's, signal on, signal off based off of research and risk assessment. And so even if you're late to the party, such as I was with SAIA, I saw this really nice trend go up to $80 with it. And then just like we talked about before, that healthy selling, that red candle made me really happy on the weekly. And that was my entry point once it showed that it was going to turn around from there. I waited for that moment where it broke the open of that red candle right down around in there, and jumped in and have been enjoying it since. And so look at the volume. The candles are nice and fat. There's just a lot of good things to say about this stock. With that being said, if we look at it, it is starting to hit a big price point. That $100 mark is giving it some trouble. You can even see if you were to draw a line across the tops of everything, it's kind of starting to round out at the top. So it's kind of losing steam a little bit. And we'll see if that's just a natural selling point and it's going to resurge after that. Who knows? But this has been a significant trend. And thanks to Genius Modes, I was able to quickly identify it. I didn't have to go through 6,000 stocks to find it. I just pick up the ones that matter from Genius Modes based on my process. And you can see at the top, it's got a Stock Trader Genius rating of 6 still. So it's a strong rating. We've got the diamond, we have the banner, which is all wonderful. The thing I like to see as well too, but it's not a have to have, but I do enjoy seeing it, Rob,
Hmm.
is that consistency on the investing. And look at the red and green bar chart. Just nice, even, steady, going up, nothing fancy, nothing crazy, no big booms and busts, just a nice movement up. What do you see, Rob?
Steady Eddie, I love it. And talk about momentum. Jeez. Sustained momentum. I mean, to go from 65 to 95 in just what, a month and a half? I mean, that's pretty fantastic. So, Stock Trader Genius, I did that early. Um, what it's reading is the risk involved, and obviously this one played out. When you look at Stock Trader Genius candidates, like you found Saya right here, one of the things that I like to tell students to look at is right here. How has it performed with the Stock Trader Genius indicator on-off system before? The total growth that SAIA has shown in the past is conducive with the reads that Stock Trader Genius is making. So those are the ones you want to follow. There are going to be some, honestly, ones that show up here with minuses there. You know what? There's thousands of stocks out there. Find one like SAIA here, like you did, and really whatever your system, this one was a good candidate. It had been charging up on the daily, took a little break there. We're actually in the middle of a break on the daily, confirms what you said. Monthly is looking strong as well, but it's right at that 95 right now. It had tested close to 100. What also I'm reading about the candle pattern here, Jess, man, is we got this wick on the bottom of the red candle that you mentioned. So the wick also tells you that it found some nice support at that $90 mark. So there are still buyers active on this stock. That means people are valuing the company still at a higher rate, or maybe at an increasing rate still. So you got some support with you.
Yeah. Well, and to put it into context as well, too, is we had talked about at the beginning what the overall market has been doing this week. It took a hit. Saw that big red candle on the multi-decade chart, and then the downturn that we've had this half of the week, and it's still holding. It's still holding at that 95 range, and that's a really promising sign that there's belief in SAIA, that it is a strong move. And I think I misspoke on my decision to get in SAIA. It was not breaking that red candle. It was the support that it found at 80.
I see.
Is what generated my interest and ultimate choice to get in, was that support at 80. I really liked seeing that long wick at the bottom, and then it sucks up and it finds support, and that was my trigger for getting in.
Fantastic. Well, good trade, dude. This guy, yeah, the volume plays a big part. It had sparse volume before on the weekly scale, monthly, a little, not so much, not excessive volume, and on the daily, kind of sparse too. But I like this last run, especially since you got in. It's been sustained. In case you're new to the system, these pinkish purplish histograms on the bottom show you the excessive volume. That's called our volume genius. You can turn it on and off right here. And you can use a volume line too if you like, but that's a little bit harder to use. These ones are pretty easy because the bigger the histogram, the more volume you get. So to start this massive weekly move, we had a lot of volume coming in. That's all on the buyer's side. And the buyers have sustained it pretty well on its charge up to this territory. So what do you do with SAIA? If you didn't catch the trade that Jess is in, or the Stock Trader Genius trade, is now a good time to get in? You probably want a little more confirmation. And just wait for these. All the charts look good, but daily's taking a break. And so look at the current candle. That's the rightmost candle. Wait for that to meet your system. Because kind of as we were talking about with LEN and PESI on the daily trade analysis, Jess, you want to look left at, you want to look at possible sticking points, whether that's on the way up or the way down. Why do we do that? Self-preservation. Preserve our capital. You don't want to take unnecessary risks with your money. So this is, it is just reading charts, and it is simple decision making, but you have to protect yourself. You don't want to. So we're both military. I think most of our listeners know that. Um, you don't want to walk straight into an ambush. You don't want to walk into a known IED, improvised explosive device zone, because you might get burned by doing so. It's not a risk you need to take. Don't do it. Wait for the chart to meet your system. Jess, you got in a great point right here. Is now another time that it's going to find that same support? Stay tuned. And for our long-term trade analysis, we're going to talk quite a bit about investor genius modes, and we're going to go to EQIX. That's Equinix Incorporated. Here we see, let's go to the monthly time frame, and let's take a look at what the chart looks like. Holy cow, that looks good. Make an adjustment here. You got your, when you use the software, you got your little tray here with your palette, so you can mark up the chart however you want. We turn trend lines off. We have signal, which is trigger. We have K-band. We have J-stop on, and we have the price lines. We also have Volume Genius. Let's turn off Stock Trader Genius for this one and look at Investor Genius. So Stock Trader Genius, you could see, was along the bottom. That tells you when Stock Trader Genius signal is on. That's for moderate range trades. That's usually for like a couple months worth, ballpark. Investor Genius is the Sapphire to STG's Diamond. So this was actually active on both. But let's focus on the Sapphire right here with this kind of bluish banner across the top, and you've got a verbal message there. So Investor Genius signal came on March 29th of this year, and so it's been growing pretty steadily. If we put a trend line on, it is still holding above that trend line on the monthly time scale. Jess, man, what are you seeing with EQIX?
EQIX, the first thing that stands out to me on that trend line, just of note, is how even it has been from that trend line. No major challenges, just the distance that it's spent from that trend line has been really pretty good, which is a really awesome thing to see. You don't see that often. First off, going back to the start of the Investor Genius, is looking up there at that Sapphire and banner. You got good percentages. You got investment rating of 6 still on this long of a trend, getting after it. My eyes come down from there and I see nice growth with the financials. I mean, guys, we're talking about a channeling environment on the multi-decade chart. We're talking about a channeling environment on the overall weekly chart. And this thing is like, what channel? Let's just head on up. Let's do it easy. We're not in any hurry. This is consistency as consistency gets. I love it. And we're not talking small price points either. No. We're talking the 500 price point, get some selling going on there, or 600 price point, and it kind of gets going again. I mean, it's just a nice, beautiful looking chart. If we could get these everywhere all day, we wouldn't know what to do with ourselves, huh, Rob?
For real. Just look at when Investor Genius was turned on for this, how it found that entry. Let me just go back to what we were looking at. I mean, it looks nice. The indicators were all coming on, but this thing read the risk and said, hey, all of the factors and numbers are pointing towards this thing growing from this point on. It said signal on right there. I mean, holy cow. Let me put that investor chart back up. So this goes all the way back to 2003, 2002, looks like right there. And 3 investments over that time frame. This thing, EQIX, when the signal is on, it is performing nicely. That goes from $75 roughly to $350. Yeah, I think that's something I want more of. In this case, the signal came on right here, and it's still active. It may be too late. We're talking about some big price points, but then again, maybe not. Look how far it ran last time. This thing just keeps growing. It's got some serious support.
That second to last candle on this chart with the tall wicks, is a little bit of concern in the fact that the range is so great. That is some indecision, but at the same time, that's buying and selling, because we come back 2 more candles. you have a big range, a little bit of a red candle that got developed out of that. But that's it. So it may just be that's what EQIX does. That just may be its behavior as far as healthy buying and selling. But if you hover over that second to last candle, what was the high there? That's 609.97.
Hmm.
Hey, 600 is going to be proved to be a big price point, and then you've got this 609.97. So if it's something that you're able to identify an entry that works for you and your process, then I would say that 600, 609.97 zone is going to prove to be potentially a decent sticking point. So kind of keep that in your mind as you cage expectations. But what a beautiful, beautiful trade. I love it. I love the financials, the system that Investor Genius portion of it, and really all the genius modes just do such a fantastic job to where you're not having to sift through 6,000 stocks to find these gems. They're coming right to the top of the list. 30, 40 stocks maybe that you got to sift through to pick the few that you want to get in or the handful you want to get in. And that's it, really. It's an easy day. Trading just became easier than I even ever thought would have been possible. Thanks to Alan and Steven's hard work. This is it, folks. I mean, Genius Modes, there's nothing like it out there. And it really provides a user-friendly, easy to manage, easy to navigate system that you can start applying your process to and reaching your financial goals, your trading goals, where you want to go in life and what you want to do. Genius Modes creates that environment in the sense that you don't have to put in nearly as much work, nor do you have to have all the technical knowledge in the world to be able to take advantage of it, because Alan's put it all in there for us.
Yeah, brother. I mean, this is getting quite simple. It's never going to be easy. You still have to apply yourself, but simple is something you can work with. So important point about what you're saying. The Daily Dozen is also there for you. So whether you're getting that to your inbox and using it that way, using it right through the software, having all of these options now, they're all complete. They're all together. We don't need any more tools. We got them. We just need to learn how to use them consistently. So if you're out there and you're looking at this, you've never traded, you've never even used our system, it's all right here on your home screen. You got Genius Modes there. You got the long-term market there. You got your own watch lists right here that you can find your movers. You got some really awesome videos to help you along the way, help you understand everything from mindset. And this is my favorite tab right here, is a mindset tab, to live market settings. Your trade, if you want to use replay or do day trading. Sectors, if you want to invest by sector. We talked about gold a month or two ago, Jess. And then here, probably the crown jewel, no pun intended, is the Genius Modes. It's all right here for you, and it is all pretty simple to learn. So what you need to know about what you can do to get involved and to start a new income stream. Basically, the way we frame it for our advanced coaching students, Jess, is start a trading business. It's not very hard. You don't need a huge loan from some bank to start this trading business. You need a little cash to trade with. Yeah, you got some savings for that. You can move it around. You're all set. You start a brokerage account. We generally use Interactive Brokers. Bring your own broker, BYOB, don't matter. So you come in, you can use Robinhood or whatever. They have paper trading accounts. A brokerage will give you a paper trading account so that when we're looking at stuff like Jess and I were just breaking down on EQIX here, we talked about, this one day it peaked above 600 and it bounced off of 610 and went back down. Okay, that gives us pause. That, you hear Jess and I saying, maybe this is not a good time to get in. Well, guess what? If you start a brokerage account and you have a 30-day free trial of Trader Genius, you have the two tools you need to try this thing out for 30 days, trading on any time frame you want, any style you want, in paper with no real money. They give you monopoly money in your paper trading account, basically funny money that you get to play around with and test out some trades. The best way to learn, Jess, is firsthand experience. So get in there, see how simple it truly is to read a chart, take it to your brokerage software, generate a buy order, and click transmit. It is so freaking simple. I wish we could get the word out there to more people about how simple it is. You don't need any college courses or anything, any kind of qualifications to go through this. You just need a good mindset and a can-do attitude to get better. And that's all you need to do. Just get on the bike and start riding.
The system itself, too, doesn't require any technical expertise. So it's pretty intuitive, as you can see here as we walk through some of this stuff. And it really comes down to what we found is no matter if you have no experience or you have all the technical experience in the world, what matters most is people that use our software, the ones that dive in and spend time with that software, can outperform those with more technical knowledge. And so it really is just a user-friendly, something that you get in, you play around with, and have fun. That's the cool thing, is have fun. And through your experience and development of a process, you can earn money by doing that. That's the fun part about it. That's what I like about it. I like exploring and getting in there. The other really cool thing along with that 30-day free trial is you have a coach that will contact you and will discuss with you what these indicators mean and kind of understand how to navigate through the software so you can find what you're looking for. I mean, 30 days, no commitment. It's low risk of any kind, of any sort, whether it's out of your account, your time, what your effort. It doesn't really matter. It's all there. So just give it a shot and see what you can do with it and see if it can help you make your kind of goals, your financial goals or your dreams kind of come to light.
Makes sense. And here it is, just in case you've never seen it, guys. TradersGenius.com. Pretty simple. Click Get Started Now. 30-day free trial right there. You don't have to put in a credit card. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. You can also sign up for 30 days of the Daily Dozen for free as well, which comes straight to your inbox. So even if you never download the software, you're still getting something that you can take action on in your brokerage account. So sign up. There's no risk. There's no strings attached. It's the easiest way to put it. You only have yourself to thank. And yeah, you could not only be profitable, as you say, Jess, like it's a great thing for making money. That money's a vehicle to a great lifestyle where you don't have to put in a ton of time to your work. You don't have to work for somebody else. You work at your own discretion and of your own volition. And you get to hang out with a bunch of cool people who just want to get better too, and want to bring you up with them. So we have a great community. There's no reason not to give it a shot.